Afternoon, everyone. Thank you to you all for coming along today as we join to reflect upon and think about the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. What we've seen over the last fortnight has been deeply distressing and disturbing. We will have all seen upsetting footage and reports of families fleeing their homes, of vulnerable people and children sheltering underground, and of people being taken by the conflict in Ukraine. And 18 million people are projected to be affected by this unfolding situation, and more than 4 million people are expected to be displaced or have to leave their homes. And of course, whilst the profoundly shocking conflict has quite highly dominated national and international discussions, we must also give our collective thoughts to those in other parts of the world who are suffering due to conflict, war and famine. And that has to include the many thousands of people who are now detained in Russia simply for voicing their opposition to this bloodshed. Tonight's Warrington for Peace gathering is our chance to stand shoulder to shoulder together here in Warrington as one Warrington and show our collective support and solidarity to the people of Ukraine and beyond. I've seen and heard for myself great acts of kindness here in Warrington, with people wanting to show their support for the people of Ukraine, and with many more people asking how and what they can do to help. If you would like to support and are in a position to do so, I would urge you to give to the Ukraine Humanitarian Appeal, which has already raised millions of pounds. Donations to the appeal go to member charities and their local partners responding directly in Ukraine and in the neighbouring countries as people flee from the ongoing conflict. And finally, I'd like to express my thanks to our Mayor for her support in helping us bring this event together tonight. And I'd like to thank you all for attending this evening, for showing your support to the people of Ukraine and beyond. And that is truly humbling. So thank you.
Now call forward Councillor Kath Buckley as leader of the Conservative Group on Warrington Borough Council. Kath, please.
First of all, I'd like to echo all the comments made by Councillor Bowden. We wish to express our support, obviously, to the people of Ukraine, its President, the armed forces and those who are resisting this unprovoked Russian aggression. It's so important that the world condemns the evil actions of Vladimir Putin, and we fully support the sanctions announced against his regime. We have great admiration for the bravery of the Ukrainian people and their determination to resist this Russian aggressor. It's a worrying time for everybody, but our hearts go out to the valiant people of Ukraine and their heroic efforts to defend their country from this Russian aggressor. We've watched in horror, as everybody has, the events unfold and see a growing humanitarian disaster. And just as Mr. Bowden has said, Councillor Bowden has said, we call upon the citizens of Warrington to consider providing support, humanitarian relief and other efforts. And we thank everybody who's done so far. And I would also like to echo and thank Mayor for organising this event today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kath. So now ask Councillor Bob Barr, who's the leader of the Liberal Democrats on the council, to come forward, please. Bob.
Thank you very much indeed for coming out tonight to show your solidarity with the people of Ukraine. As both Russ and Kath have said, the best way that you can help is to provide funds for the Disasters Emergency Committee so that humanitarian aid can be provided. But that isn't going to be enough. This is a cataclysmic occasion. We haven't seen anything like this in our lifetimes. My family did see something like this. The oldest surviving member of my father's generation was driven out of Poland, Wągroże, near the Belarus-Ukrainian border, by Stalin's troops in September 1939. She was 7 years old. She had to escape through southern Europe and she was strafed by the Luftwaffe whilst she was doing so. Eventually they ended up in France, then France fell to Germany, and at that stage we opened our doors. We set up both Dunkirk, but also Operation Ariel, that got 250,000 British troops, Polish troops, families of all nations out to Britain, and they got into Plymouth just after the armistice was settled, and after that they were sent to interrogation centres to make sure that there were no spies coming in. But the next day, my family was housed by very kind English people who opened their homes and their hearts to them. We may not be able to do that. If we can, we should, but if we can help financially, we must. Finally, we must not forget, Putin is a terrorist, Putin is a tyrant, Putin is a thief, and Putin is a murderer. We cannot let Ukraine down as we let Poland down at Yalta by giving up the country to his control for the next generation. So we are only at the beginning of what is an extremely hard time. Thank you so much for showing your solidarity with Ukraine. Don't make it just one occasion. Please keep it going as long as the conflict continues. Thank you so much for coming today.
Ask Andy Heaver, Councillor Andy Heaver, who's the leader of the independent group on the council, to offer his thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you, Madam Mayor, for putting on this event. It's very rare that politicians agree on anything together. I think it's safe to say that in this case, there isn't one member of the council, very few members in the country that are not united against what is happening to the people of Ukraine. Okay, and it's actually the people of the world. I'm emboldened by what's going on, but we need to do more. So it's great to see you all here. And the more we can do, the more we get together against him, hopefully we can depose Putin. This isn't about Russia against us, it's about one man, and he needs to go. It's as simple as that. So thank you for your support today, and thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Now, unfortunately, both of our MPs are on parliamentary business. They're actually dealing with the sanctions against Putin at the moment. So, on behalf of Andy Carter MP, Stephen Taylor is going to say a few words. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you. I'm honoured to be here, and I'm honoured to have been given this job. I don't often get many really important jobs, but this is one of them. Andy's very sorry he can't be with us in Warrington this evening, as Stephen said, that he's on his duties in Parliament, but he's asked me to read a statement to you. Rarely has the contrast between right and wrong been so stark. The horrific and unprovoked attack on Ukraine is an act of great evil. The actions of Mr. Putin over the last 10 days have brought vividly into life the horrors of war in Europe. Families fleeing bullets and bombs, everyday activities like going to work and the shops have been disrupted. Nights spent on concrete floors in underground shelters for protection. The horrors many of us never expected to see. For many of us in the West, it's been easy for us to take peace for granted. The horrors being visited on Ukraine must be a wake-up call for all of us. Peace comes about because of a shared goal, and it's something we all need to work at continually. Peace is a choice. It's a decision we need to make each day about the way we live our lives and about our responsibilities with ourselves and with our neighbours and our local community, or between nations of the world. To achieve peace, we need wisdom, leadership, tenacity, and the international resolve that will deliver it. Our grandparents knew this, and they knew it because they experienced the horrors of war that most of us haven't seen. The people of Ukraine must know that the people in Warrington and across the West are standing with them, resolute to find a solution and to end the loss of life and return to peace. My thoughts are with all those separated from loved ones and those who are worried for their safety and security, and those searching for peace in these uncertain times. Thank you.
So, you, Stephen. On behalf of Andy Carter MP, ask Sarah Hall to say a few words on behalf of Charlotte Nichols MP. Thanks.
Thank you. I speak this evening on behalf of Charlotte Nichols MP, who's also had to be in Westminster this evening. She's very sorry that she can't be here with you. Thank you all for coming and for sharing witness to the plight of Ukraine and all Ukrainians. Thank you for your demonstration of solidarity and fraternity. And thank you for sharing your belief in the importance of peace, without which the whole world is diminished. I am sure that all our compassion goes out to the people of Ukraine who are living in dire circumstances. Their very lives, freedom and existence literally on the line as the might of Putin's armed forces bears down on them from all directions. I know we will all join the leaders of the international communities in the total condemnation of Putin's illegal war. We hope and pray that the sanctions and other actions taken against Russia will, even at this desperate hour, result in a cessation of all hostilities and a complete Russian withdrawal from Ukraine's sovereign territory. I know you will all join me in saluting the bravery of all Ukrainians for their steadfast resistance, and the bravery of ordinary Russians who are protesting against their government. We commend their bravery and should do all we can to support them and ensure their human rights to protest are protected and they aren't persecuted for making clear Putin's actions aren't in their name. We have to find a way to stop Putin's cruel and inhuman attack on Russia's sovereign neighbour. We have to find a way to restore full and secure independence to Ukraine. We should redouble our humanitarian efforts to help all those Ukrainians who have chosen to stay and defend their homeland. We must do everything we can to accommodate those who have been forced to flee their homes and their families. And our efforts should not cease until justice and democracy reign once again in Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sarah Hall, on behalf of Charlotte Nichols MP. Now ask Mr Kazi on behalf of the Islamic Association to say his thoughts. Thank you, Mr Kazi.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for giving us an opportunity. It is so nice to see you all here together for a cause which is so important for all of us. I would like to tell you to join me in praying to Putin not to destroy innocent lives. If you see in Ukraine, all the ladies, young men, those who don't know how to hold the guns, they are all open in the air to fight against the terror. We all must show the solidarity for all these people by praying to Lord to give them a strength and forbearance to fight bravely and defeat the terror. I am standing here on behalf of the Muslim communities and ethnic communities of Warrington to give our solidarity to this nation which is fighting the terrorist war. I hope peace will prevail very soon and we all see the fruits of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Kazi. I'll ask Dr Andy Davis to say a few words on behalf of the NHS and GPs in our town. Andy Davis, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for inviting me. So good to see everybody out here, and I'm struck by the fact that we're stood in relatively clement yet cold conditions, and the fundamental needs of people in Ukraine have been taken away with the destruction of their homes and shelter, and they've been left exposed to elements and having to walk for miles to get to safety. I was also struck by the children who were receiving cancer treatment, who were moved out of hospitals which were destroyed and had to move to Poland to continue the therapy. Some of them, that delay in treatment will have the worst of consequences. And I was also struck with the 100,000 orphans that have been moved out of their accommodation in the Ukraine and have nowhere to go. And the carers in those orphanages have had to try to get them out on trains to safety. And And I think, although we're a long, long way away, we've always been able to intervene as a healthcare community and provided care and shelter or support for refugees when they've arrived from Afghanistan or Syria most recently. And although everybody's really stretched, it's a privilege to be able to provide that care, so we would be ready if we are required to do so. And thank you again for all the support you've shown over the last 2 years, for all the work that's gone on, and thank you for being here and showing that concern.
Thank you, Andy. Now ask Colin Parry. Colin and Wendy are both here to say a few words on behalf of the Peace Centre and all your woodwork and peace and reconciliation over the years. Colin and Wendy, thank you. Colin.
I don't know where to start, to be honest, because this conflict is on a scale unimaginable for any of us who are under the age of 75. The forces that Putin has at his disposal, nuclear weapons and conventional weapons, will and can obliterate Ukraine. And the world has this awful problem of facing up to Putin with economic sanctions, financial sanctions, which I'm sure help. But the fear I've got, and the fear I'm sure all of you got, is if NATO decided to act militarily against Putin, I have no doubt whatsoever that Putin would engage nuclear weapons. And then I think you'd see the whole of the European mainland probably turn to rubble. I'm not trying to speak like Armageddon's round the corner, but the simple truth is this man is a complete despot and probably a maniac. And I admire the Russian people so much who stand in the streets of Moscow and St. Petersburg and protest and then get hauled off into prison, no doubt for a couple of years, to teach them the error of their ways. There is no democracy in Russia. It's beyond my comprehension how people can tolerate a leader such as Putin, but he's got all of the levers at his control, and that's the worry for the rest of the world, all of us. I just hope that events like this and the kindness shown by so many neighbouring European countries to Ukraine impacts something that's deep in Putin's psyche. I think Britain is doing too little. I don't know why Britain isn't waiving normal immigration rules and welcoming far more Ukrainians if this is where they'd like to come to, because we are a welcoming country. We are a country of many nations. So I think we are being uncharacteristically slow. But more than that I can't say. All I can say is, having experienced terror on a very small scale, albeit it was on a huge scale from a family point of view, this present conflict is almost beyond my comprehension. And I just pray to God, and pray to your God as well, that something breaks through and that makes this madman turn round and back off. And I can only pray that might happen, as I'm sure you do. Anyway, thank you very much for letting me speak to you. Thank you.
Now the rugby club, Warrington Wolves, were to be here. Darryl Powell is on his way. They do play in yellow, and here he is. Thank you. Here he is. Now, Darryl didn't want to speak. He does have a voice left, despite the defeat against Catalan on Friday. He used most of his voice up. The rugby club, who play in Primrose and Blue, are very supportive. There's a support and solidarity for the people of Ukraine. So just give Darryl a round of applause for being with us, please. So, final words, please, from Councillor Maureen Cregan, the Mayor of Warrington. Okay, Maureen, please.
Thank you, Stephen. Good evening, everybody. May I first pass on my thanks to those who have spoken so powerfully tonight, and my sincere thanks to you all who have joined us in this evening to show your support and solidarity. Many of us across the world will have been shocked and distressed to see the situation unfold in Ukraine. And of course my thoughts are with those who have been displaced, are suffering, or have been injured or taken by the ongoing conflict. I have said previously that Warrington has long recognised as a place, a beacon of peace. It feels particularly important to reiterate that message again this evening. Together at this Warrington for Peace event, we have shown our collective solidarity with those who are far less fortunate than we are, people currently victims of war, conflict and famine. I want to thank you for gathering this evening to demonstrate our shared vision for peace and to show to the people of Ukraine and beyond that we are thinking of them and hoping and praying for a better world. In closing this event, I would ask you to gather in silence for just a moment to reflect on the current situation in Ukraine and to also give our thoughts to all people across the world who are currently facing hardship and struggle due to conflict and war. Have we have now a minute's silence, please? Thank you very much once again for attending, and I hope you have a safe journey home. Please take care. Please let's think of Ukraine all the time. Thank you.
So thank you, Madam Mayor. The town hall will remain lit yellow and blue, with the Ukrainian flag flying until such time we feel adequate steps have been reached to have peace in Ukraine. Thank you for attending. Those of you who want to come in for a warm or even more a cup of tea, please join us, please. Thank you.
Well, that completes the official proceedings of this peace rally here at the town hall today, and I've got to say how proud I am of my hometown and our political and our religious and our community leaders all coming together to put on a united front to stand together for Ukraine. And as many people have already said, the atrocities there are like nothing any of us have seen before since the time of the Second World War. Moving forward, I hope this can be a stepping stone event. We've just seen all our political and community leaders all together putting on this united front. They need to do this moving forward for the good of our own town as well. They've shown they can stand together, so let's all stand together and move forward. Stand together for Ukraine, stand together for this country, and stand together for Warrington and work together in a positive way.